done a few videos now on YouTube, and I honestly cannot believe how tricky it is. Talking to camera, some people make it look so easy, but it's not as easy as people think. But I'm going to keep going with this channel, and hopefully as time goes on and the more videos I do, I will get better. But I've got a bit of time to chat this morning and tell you a bit more about myself and how I'm trying to live my best life after having a cancer diagnosis. So I'm 57 and I live with my partner Dave. We've been together for nearly 12 years now. I also have 2 adult sons who I'm really proud of. They've turned into really fantastic young men. They're just amazing, and fair play to them. They're hardworking and they're just great people to be with. So I retired last year from teaching, age 56, and I taught in loads of local primary schools, and I taught for 29 years, 24 in the one same primary school, and I absolutely loved it. It was my dream job, working with the kids, the staff who became friends. It was just great. I felt like I was making a difference and I couldn't wait to get up and go to work every morning. It was totally my life. I loved it. Then in June 2021, just as COVID was starting to be the norm, I discovered I had breast cancer. And it was a total shock. Absolute bolt from the blue. Cancer for me was always something that happened to other people. But no, there I was, age 52, and I had cancer. And my whole world just changed in a matter of weeks. It was just, wow, amazing. So I had to tell my 2 sons what was happening, which was awful. Telling my parents, who were quite elderly now, that was awful. The whole thing was awful. And anyone that has had cancer knows your world is just tipped upside down. It's just, if you've had cancer yourself, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So then I started on this cancer wheel where your life is full of hospital appointments. And I mean, it's just relentless. I ended up having the full cancer experience. So I had surgery, chemo, lost all my hair, lost all this, radiotherapy, and I'm still on medication now. Once the cancer has gone and your treatment is over, things are never really quite the same. And the friends I've made through this cancer journey and through my cancer treatment all agree that just a little bit of yourself changes somehow. I don't know what it is. Just part of you is never quite the same. But foolishly, I was desperate to get back to normal. I wanted to get back to work, get back to going on holiday, going away for weekends, going out with friends, and just doing all of those usual normal things, the normal stuff that makes you feel like a human being. And I thought that getting back to work and some sort of normal life, things would go back to how they were pre-cancer. But stupidly for me, that was totally ridiculous. I was completely delusional. I went back to work in April 2022, but work just wasn't the same. I just didn't love it like I used to. My head teacher put me in a role that I didn't want to be in. I hadn't got a class, which made me feel totally, it just wasn't me. And the job became something I absolutely dreaded. I didn't want to get up in the morning. I didn't want to go to work. And I couldn't get my head around why I felt like I did. I felt bored. The children, although lovely, because I taught the younger children, annoyed me. They just niggled at me. The parents wound me up. Their expectations seemed to be through the roof. The staff meetings just seemed to go on, and I just realised I didn't want to do the job anymore, which was really, really alien to me. I dreaded going into work. It all just seemed so pointless somehow. I just don't know what was going through my head. I did drop down to 4 days, and I had started having a Friday off, and that was at that point a bit of a lifesaver because it gave me a longer weekend and I just felt a bit more human. But something had definitely shifted. I wanted my freedom. I felt like I was trapped in a nightmare. I just didn't want to be at work, and it was affecting me a lot. It was all I could think about, really. I knew I could retire at 55, but I still had a mortgage, still had bills to pay, and slowly a little niggly idea began to form in my head, and I began investigating retiring and whether I could afford to do it. I read a few forums online, and I realised that if I wanted to retire, we were going to have to sell the house and we would have to downsize and then pay off the mortgage in order for me to do this. Dave didn't want to sell, but we were living in a 3-storey house which was quite large. We actually had 2 bedrooms and a bathroom that weren't even being used. They were just used for suitcase storage and a place to put the Christmas decorations before they went up the loft. So in January 2024, the house went up for sale, and it sold really quickly when I think back. And we accepted an offer on Valentine's Day on the 14th of February. So after a few rocky months where we pulled out of one house that really in hindsight wasn't right, and then we discovered it had got rising damp, which was a nightmare, we eventually moved here into our new much smaller house in August 2024. I've loved living here. We've been here for nearly 2 years now. But at that time I was still working, still going to work, but the pressure was off. I'd got no mortgage to pay, which meant I could save a bit more and think about making plans for the future. With a bit more money in the bank, things weren't so pressured, and it just changed my mindset a little bit. So my plan was to carry on working for about three more years, perhaps till I was 58, and then retire. And then my pension would be a bit bigger, and having no mortgage meant, obviously, like I said, I could save. I went back to work in September 2024, but I soon realised that nothing had changed. I still hated it. During those first few weeks of the new term, I just knew I couldn't carry on. So by the October time, I decided to hand my notice in. So I went to my head teacher and said I was going to retire at the end of the academic year, so I would have 1 more year in school. And by that time, at retirement age, I would have been 56 and 6 months when I finally retired. I was terrified when I did that, but so excited. I suppose I realised somewhere along the line that retiring from teaching didn't mean not working at all. It just meant retiring from teaching, not from working life. I could get a job doing something else, something completely different. You know, I could work in a cafe, I could work in a shop. The world suddenly was open. It was a different place. So I had a countdown on my phone. I crossed the days off on my calendar. I couldn't wait. It was something that seemed so far ahead, but was in touching distance. A holiday we'd got booked during the Easter school break was moved, and that saved us over £1,000. Result, we were like, wow, amazing. Straight away, we were onto a winner. So we had much more flexibility over what we could do. Dave was still working, but his job allowed him to work on a self-employed basis. So the ties of the school holidays was no more. It was no longer. We were free. We were free from those restrictive set holidays. So I eventually retired in July 2025, and it has been the best thing I have ever done. I absolutely love it. I still do some odd days of supply teaching, just 2, sometimes 3 days a week, because I still love teaching. But the good thing is that at 3:30 I walk out of that door and forget about it. It's the best bits of teaching without all of the rubbish, without the admin, without the staff meetings and all the hassle that goes with it. My mental health is much better. I'm more relaxed. I don't feel as stressed. I can't say that I'm sleeping any better because medication that I'm on affects things. But I'm loving planning meals, having time to cook from scratch, reading what I want to, when I want to. I go swimming 2 or 3 times a week. I meet up with friends for lunch or for coffee. I go walking. We've done a lot of travelling together, me and Dave. We've been on some city breaks to Krakow, Madrid. We've been to Whitby, a place I've never been before. We've been on lots of gigs, and we're just enjoying life. So cancer has literally changed my life in so many ways. I don't think I would have retired if cancer hadn't come along and given me a shove. Who knows though? You just don't know, do you? So please let me know in the comments if you relate to this, if you've come out from the other side after a cancer diagnosis and cancer treatment. I'm 5 years now down the line from my initial start of treatment, which is where lots of monitoring like scans and things stop, which is a worry in itself, but I will not let cancer steal anything else from me. I've now got time to live my life on my terms. Yeah, I'm not rich, but I'm rich in so many other ways. I've got time to do what I want to do without somebody telling me what to do. So we have lots and lots of plans. We're going on our cruise soon. We've got some gigs and weekends planned in September and October. And then in November, we've got a big Thailand and Malaysian trip that's spanning about 5 weeks it is. So let me know if you can relate to this, because cancer really does have a big impact.